Greetings, everyone. Owen and AJ here, and we're going to do a couple of things real quick before I get started. If you're watching this video and you have watched it by the time it takes to upload, which is probably about 3 or 4 hours, Happy New Year! It's now officially 2014, and let's hope this year is going to be awesome, and I can guarantee it's going to be a lot of really cool things happening on Pop in the coming months and years ahead. Mark my words. Some new segments are coming up, and we've got some new content coming up very soon as well. And since it is January, obviously, you guys know it is award season, which means, I believe January 12th is our first ceremony, is it not?
I don't have the calendar in front of me, I don't know.
I think it's January 12th. If not, that's a nomination. It's either a nomination, it's either the BAFTAs or it's the Critics' Choice Awards. I don't know which one.
Huh.
Sounds like it. Anyway. The nominations for the BAFTAs and the Critics' Choice Awards.
Critics' Choice Awards are right now.
No, the ceremony.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's one of the two. It's either the nominations of the BAFTAs or the ceremony of the Critics' Choice Awards.
They're all in there together.
Isn't the Critics' Choice Awards also the same day the Oscar nominations, too? I believe so.
I really don't remember.
I did the calendar the other day because I need to see how many days
The Globes are in there.
I need to get off work. So, yeah, it's really weird because the Globes are not the first thing this year.
Yeah, they are. It's weird. It's weird because Critics' Choice isn't the first thing this year.
That's what I meant to say. Sorry, head's kind of jumbled right now. There's always that. So, without any further ado, you guys seem to enjoy this when we did this for the half year, and we're going to give it to you for the full year now. Now, I want to throw something out real quick. The best of 2013 video, we're holding off on a little bit. There's a couple more things we need to see before the year is officially over. So, obviously, the fact that it's now 2014 does not mean that we're still not watching 2013 movies. Obviously, we still have August to watch, we still have Nebraska to watch, we still have Inside Llewyn Davis to watch, we still have Her to watch. And I think that covers it, doesn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So once we watch those, or at least some of those, we're going to be able to shoot you guys out our official best of the year. But, because it was oh so popular when we did the half year, we're going to throw you guys out a little special New Year's surprise tonight, and that's going to give you the worst of 2013. And if I still did annotations, it would say this right under our names, worst of 2013. So, here's how we're going to do it this time around. AJ's got a little bit more to say this time than I do, given the fact that, number one, he's got some limited release movies that you guys may not have heard of. Or you might have and just forgotten about them. And his dishonorable mention will be broken apart in those, and also the mainstream movies, which are also going to be on there. I believe AJ also has something this year, which is basically designated as movies that are too bad to even be considered on one of these lists. So, without any further ado, let's start with AJ's worst dishonorable mentions of 2013.
Well, when I was going through these, I came across two. There's usually some of these, but there's two that really stood out.
Okay, makes sense.
You have Sharknado and you have The Starving Games.
Okay, two of which we have reviews on this channel for.
Yeah, and the thing about these movies is, number one, not to say that the movies that are actually in the top 10 are like, worthy of anything, but the Freeberg and Seltzer movies in general are pretty much so effortless in how terrible they are.
Yeah.
Because no effort was put into them at all. That it would just be a waste of space to even put them on a worst list.
I agree with that completely.
And Sharknado, I have it out for Sharknado so much. Here's the thing. They basically made the movie to be bad. They wanted to be one of those, we're intentionally being so bad it's good, which is just...
Of course.
Which is not effective. It's just being a fucking tryhard.
Exactly.
So, I didn't want to give it the satisfaction of being on a worst of list.
Makes sense. Giving it what it wants, in essence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as these movies that I figure people who watch this list will want to maybe see movies they've heard of be bashed.
Yeah, of course.
So I have 4 that would initially make it, but they're so bad you'll probably never even come across them. They'll probably just disappear into nothingness.
At least you hope so.
3 of them went to Sundance this year.
Oh, wow.
One of them is a movie called The Rambler, which apparently the director made, like, I think it's like a short that he made,
Mm-hmm.
and then he expanded it to feature length and cast Daryl Mulroney as the lead.
We haven't even reviewed this movie.
Yeah, because I just wanted it out of my head after I saw it. It's a David Lynch wannabe.
Okay.
Which is a really bad thing to be.
Yeah, totally.
Because even nowadays, David Lynch just wants to be his old self.
Yeah.
So, even his old self wasn't always... I won't even go into a Lynch tirade. I'm love-hate with him. And it's just got weird shit for no reason happening. He's just this drifter that just goes along, and just weird shit happens for no reason.
He wanders the earth.
Yeah, he comes across this scientist who's got, like, it's basically Edward Nygma's machine.
Okay.
Only it makes people's heads explode.
That was the advanced model.
He gets projectile vomited on by some weird segment. I don't even remember what the fuck was happening.
It was in segments?
I don't know what the fuck was going on here. It just kind of was what it was and just did its thing until it just stopped.
Credits.
So fuck that.
Okay, fair enough.
This movie, I don't know how many different titles this movie had, but as of now it's called Adore. Not a door like an entrance, but like a door like I adore you.
Okay.
It is a weird ass movie with Robin Wright and Naomi Watts. And it was infamous because it got laughed at Sundance. And apparently that was the only reaction it got.
That's bad. Sundance of all places.
And it's just so fucking dumb and soap opera-y. Naomi Watts and Robin Wright are these best friends. And they each have a child, a boy. And those boys become best friends. And then, sure enough, and one of them's married to Ben Mendelsohn, or was married to Ben Mendelsohn. I don't know. He comes in and out of the movie from time to time. But the plot of the movie is these two women who are best friends and whose sons are best friends. They fall in love with each other's sons.
Yeah, you told me about this movie.
And it's just this weird, sleazy thing. I mean, I know age isn't a factor, but the way the movie is made the whole concept feel really sleazy and uncomfortable.
Fair enough.
And that's just I don't even know where the laughter came from. I was just
put off by it completely.
I was extremely bored too.
Yeah,
like I just couldn't get through it. I had to keep trying. And when I finally reached the end, I felt like I had accomplished something.
I feel that way sometimes when I watch movies.
Because I can't eat or sleep or rest until I've finished a movie that I've started. It just hangs over my head and I can't. That's why I've seen so many.
Even if the players are not wanting to cooperate, it takes you like 14 times before you see the whole thing. Well, I watched 15 minutes of the movie and it stopped. I watched 45 minutes of the movie, then it stopped. I decided to take 4 days off before I even decided to finish it.
Alright. And our other Sundance movie is, it's Sundance, it was called Emmanuel and the Truth About Fishes. But apparently they thought that title was too weird, so now it's just The Truth About Emmanuel. And it's, I can't remember who the main girl is, but it also has Jessica Biel in it. And the plot of this movie is... It's basically, I don't know if it's a spoiler, I can't remember how far into the movie this is revealed, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway, because you're probably never going to even be able to track this movie down. Jessica Biel moves in next door, and Emmanuel was taken by her because Jessica Biel reminds her of, like, her dead mom.
Okay.
That died in childbirth.
Gotcha.
Or when she was really young, I can't remember which.
Nah, it works.
And it's just Jessica Biel and her baby. Okay?
Oh boy.
Well, Emmanuel goes over and they start a friendship and they hang out all the time. They spend all their time together. Well, a twist is revealed about half an hour in or so.
Mm-hmm.
Jessica Biel is very, very protective of her baby and spends all of her time with it. She barely ever leaves the house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just to take it on a walk if she goes. And she just comes right back. Well, one day Emmanuel goes to check on the baby and realizes that this baby is a fake baby doll.
How? How does she not realize immediately?
And there is this scene where Jimmy Simpson, the guy who played the guy that identified Arthur Lee Allen at the end of Zodiac, he was also Common's partner in Date Night.
Yeah, okay.
You see him everywhere.
Yeah, definitely.
He's this guy that works with Emmanuel that's interested in Jessica Biel. So he says, while Jessica Biel goes next door for Emmanuel's birthday party, she's going to let him babysit.
Okay.
And of course Emmanuel's freaking out because for some reason, I don't know if it's never really explained exactly what her thought process is, but Emmanuel is not going to let Jessica Biel know that she knows, and she's not going to let anybody else find out. She's just going to keep this secret.
How do you even have this as a secret? How can't people just obviously look down and say, oh, that's not real? That's really not real.
But anyway,
you might need some help.
This incomprehensible birthday party scene, okay? Obviously Emmanuel's freaking out because he's coming over to babysit and he's going to find out.
Yeah.
I really don't know why Emmanuel's so troubled by this, but maybe because Jessica Biel's like her mother figure and they're going to take her away, whatever.
Yeah, obviously.
But he comes over, okay, and we don't see him babysit. We see him go in the house, and then we focus on the birthday party. And then the birthday party ends, and Jessica Biel goes home, and the guy leaves. And we don't hear anything. We don't know, like, apparently he never found out, but I don't know how one babysits and never finds out that the baby's not real.
Is there any inclination in their minds that why did the baby never cry? Why did the baby never need change? Why did the baby never do anything? Doesn't make any sense at all.
It's doing its best to be some profound thing and some emotionally heart-wrenching thing or whatever, but this movie is just so ridiculous and incomprehensible.
Sounds terrible.
I just couldn't take it seriously at all.
Okay. Well, I have to ask you about something which I know is not a mainstream movie, so I'm very curious.
I have one more.
Oh, okay. Hopefully this is it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. No, hopefully this is it, what I'm thinking you're going to talk about.
I'm talking about Brian De Palma's new movie.
Nope.
Passion.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a remake of a Ford movie, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the title of the original.
Hot Passion.
But, yeah. It's Numi from Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah.
And it's Rachel McAdams. And Rachel McAdams is her, she's basically Meryl Streep in The Devil Wears Prada.
Okay, fair enough.
And she's abusive and emotionally and verbally and everything. And it's basically trying to be this sleazy... because Brian De Palma... when I was talking about earlier with Lynch, this is De Palma trying to be his old self. Because De Palma was like the king of like trashy thrillers.
Mm-hmm.
That were basking in their trashiness and everybody loved it for that. This is just fucking dumb.
Sounds like it.
And it's just ridiculous. It's another one of those movies you just cannot take seriously at all, and it's trying to be this gripping, shocking thriller. Their kiss was highly marketed. But it is just, I don't know what happened to De Palma, but the De Palma we once knew that made like Dress to Kill and Carrie and Raising Cain, he's not here anymore.
Didn't these movies happen at the latest in like the early 90s?
Yeah.
So yeah,
80s.
that De Palma's gone.
De Palma's prime was like in the late 70s and the 80s.
Okay. Well, Raising Cain's in the 90s, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was like the early 90s. But like Dress to Kill and all of them were...
I remember seeing a trailer for that movie. When at Town Square, actually.
He tried to go out of his...
comfort zone?
I guess, when he made the first Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah.
And then he tried to come back to his ways with the Black Dahlia, but...
I like the Black Dahlia.
The Black Dahlia wasn't what it should have been.
But it's still better than it could have been.
And it's still got a fan base.
Yeah, definitely.
That's mine.
Well, there's one thing you did mention, and I'm very curious about something before we get started with mine. I do want to mention something. There was this really nice long tirade that was on this channel about a movie and with somebody directing it that you absolutely despise, and you just ranted about this guy for such a long time. I'm really curious where Upstream Color is in this list.
It's not here because Shane Carruth...
Yes, it's what we're referring to.
...has an undeniable ambition that I can't just...
Can't just throw it aside?
Yeah. Primer, I can say, fuck you, that's a piece of shit. But as far as Upstream Color, I get where its fan base is coming from, and he's got, he could probably make a good movie someday. But...
Well, I'm just curious because I remember how much you put it and under before. I was just wondering.
Yeah, it's actually
If it
it's
was on here.
actually not here. So
Okay, surprising. Well, since I've been busy with work and just doing nothing most of the time, shooting videos for you guys, I have not got to see nearly as many movies as AJ has. As a matter of fact, I've not seen really any.
yeah, because I'm not busy at all.
You busy your life with writing and watching movies. And that works. But for me, on the other hand, I can't sit down and watch everything because, I don't want to make time half the time, to be totally honest. So, unlike previous years, I didn't watch anything that wasn't in a theater, with the exception of one. So, yeah, it was kind of one of those deals back in the day when we used to just watch movies. Watch the limited release movies or the indie movies on my computer. Just both of us, so we can knock it out at the same time. Since basically he started watching movies by himself, I have not followed suit. So needless to say, there's a lot of things I've not seen, and everything he just mentioned is the reason why we're splitting things up like this. Dishonorable Mention is a completely different category for him than it is for me, given the fact that he's seen a lot more than I have, obviously. But we're going to now go into your dishonorable mention for mainstream movies before we even get started with mine, because all mine is mainstream stuff you probably have seen. So AJ, what is your dishonorable mention for 2013?
One that we talked about in the other video
Yeah.
that carried over.
Mm-hmm.
So I really don't need to go much into it.
A lot of these things we don't really need to talk much about. This may not be a very long video.
The ABCs of Death.
Yeah.
The more I actually had it farther down on the list before, but the more I think about it, like back then, I was like, well, some of them had ambition and some of them had this, but as it stayed in my head, like I said, I would never watch it again, but
I was wondering if you watched it again.
No,
of course not.
But as it stayed in my head, I started to hate it more.
Okay.
So that's the kind of movie that is.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really feel the need to go into it much more because
That's fair.
It's all in the other one.
Yeah, eventually in the next couple of days when I have some time on my hands, I'll put this video up immediately, but as immediate as 4 hours is from now, because it takes that long to upload now. But I will say that eventually I will put in the description bar a link to these other videos, so you can go check them out if you want to see anything about movies, if you think that we haven't talked enough about it. Probably because we already talked about it in a previous video, and we don't need to rehash what we already said. Do you have any more? You just have one dishonorable mention?
Yeah. Well, technically my other ones were the ones I just went through.
Okay. I've got 3. And they're all movies you probably have heard of. As a matter of fact, they're movies there's a very good chance you might have already watched this past week. Except for one. And this one really pains me. It really pains me to say this. My first dishonorable mention is Hell Baby. And it hurts so much to put this on here. Obviously, everyone out here should probably know by now how big of a State fan I am. And anything with any State involvement is usually good for me. As a matter of fact, I think I would have put In a World on here, but Ken Marino actually, he doesn't rescue the movie, but he's enjoyable about the movie, so I can't really fault him for that. But I will say right now that Hell Baby could have been good. Maybe as a straight horror movie, potentially. As a comedy, it just failed miserably. It's just plain bad. The best way to put it. And it was such a letdown. And with Rob Corddry doing something great, like Warm Bodies earlier on in the year, and then he does something
Pain
like...
and Gain.
Yeah, exactly. And Pain and Gain, too. Which will both, spoiler alert, most likely appear on my best of list. At least one of those for sure. But with him doing that earlier in the year, than him doing this towards the end, it was kind of like, why? You're somebody that obviously is not in my good graces. When it comes, definitely not in AJ's good graces. But when it comes down to it, it just doesn't work at all. The movie is just terrible, and the scenes with Grant and Lennon standing there, they're wearing their priest outfits and they're eating at this establishment. And it's just, I mean...
Keegan-Michael Key is worth noting, though.
Yeah, Keegan-Michael Key is actually funny in it. He's actually somebody that's missing from the Wayans Brothers movies that might make them better, to be totally honest. So, I guess it's the Mad TV influence in Living Color that might help a little bit, so... But yeah, my dishonorable mention, my first one is Hell Baby. AJ, do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Not really.
I will give it up.
I've got a lot of hatred for it, but I have 10 here that I hate more.
Yeah, and I did like the Human Giant meets the State. That was an awesome idea, but it didn't work in practice because of those stupid scenes with them just sitting there and eating and talking and not really talking to each other. Well, they were talking to each other, but you couldn't understand them because they were eating. So it was just...
One of the big faults is the Cordry character.
Yeah.
Who is the main character, obviously.
That's the mistake.
And he's that guy that... It's not really him so much as the writing, because the character is just made this way from the get-go.
Yeah.
You can blame Cordry for saying yes to the script, maybe, but...
Correct.
He's one of those characters where he won't let a funny scene go without calling everything out in it. For the scene to be funny, it has to just happen and just be. But every time something happens or just is, he has to mention that it's weird and out of place. And it just kills every joke inside. He's literally a joke assassin through the whole movie, basically.
It's like watching a comedy with closed captioning. It just kills the joke before the punchline happens on screen. My second dishonorable mention, actually, the other two are movies that just came out because, you know what, I can't get them out of my head how much I dislike them. One of them would be Walking with Dinosaurs, or I believe you called it, was it Flying with Alex while you walk with dinosaurs? While he walks?
Watching them.
Watching, yeah. Flying with Alex while he watches the dinosaurs. It's just bad, folks. I mean, it's a PBS special, somehow got a theatrical release. Has nothing, the only thing it has to do with the title of the same kind is the fact that it has the same title. It has absolutely nothing to do with each other whatsoever. And I found that out because I did Wikipedia search on it. So, it's not good. I will give it up to John Leguizamo for trying. He is kind of funny. I like he does the big head, little arms thing with the dinosaur, and then of course that got me a nice little laugh. But other than that, it's a skippable movie. And if you were wanting to watch that movie, just either watch Frozen again or wait until the Nut Job comes out. You only got a couple weeks, so don't worry about it. It may not be great, but it's going to be better than Walking with Dinosaurs. And my other dishonorable mention is Grudge Match. Now, like AJ and I so eloquently put it 4 billion times on the video, it's Rocky Balboa and Jake LaMotta in a boxing movie. This movie would have worked as a hardcore drama. I think it would have, at least. In the vein of something like A Warrior.
The Fighter. And
The Fighter, especially, which we prove is better than Rocky. So, check that versus out. I will say that that was John Bernthal double feature day, which got ruined by the fact that we had to leave Grudge Match an hour in because we were too bored with it. But when you watch the movie again, I mean, it never redeems itself completely, but it's, I mean, see, this bad, it's about this bad when you watch it again. So it's still terrible, but yeah, it needs to be mentioned. These are two of the worst movies. It's kind of like how, was it Parental Guidance? Is that what it was? Is that the movie I'm thinking about? The Billy Crystal movie with Bette Midler?
What about it?
It's kind of like how it just came out and I still put it on my worst of the year list last year. So yeah, there's always that. Sometimes it takes till the very end of a year in order to get on the worst or best list. And most of my stuff actually is from earlier on in the year. So without any further ado, let's go to your...
Almost a half an hour in.
Yeah, no lie. Your number 10 for worst of 2013.
My number 10 is Paranoia.
Oh, dear God.
Paranoia is this movie apparently nobody saw if you look at the box office.
Doesn't have Delgo numbers, but it's still bad.
Yeah, it opened at number 13.
How unlucky of it.
When you can make a movie with Harrison Ford in it open at number 13, that is quite a task. Liam Hemsworth basically does the old hotshot cliche.
Yeah.
Where he gets in too deep, And in more ways than one, because he meets Amber Heard at a bar, who is the love of his life, apparently.
This movie would have been Chris Pine if his career went nowhere.
Yeah. And he falls in line with two rival business dudes who are Gary Oldman and Harrison Ford. And this movie thinks it's awesome.
The setup is awesome.
This movie thinks it's the bee's knees.
Yes. It's the beeswax.
And literally every single thing you could possibly imagine happens in it happens. It's something you've seen from something else.
It's so paint by numbers. Bob Ross invented it.
It's stuff you've seen from movies that aren't good anyway.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say something else. And it's one of those where basically they're using Liam Hemsworth because he's in the Hunger Games, even though he's box office poison. Because God knows, when you look at the rest of his movies, people clearly are not saying, I'm going to go watch the Hunger Games because of Liam Hemsworth.
They're more Hutcherson fans than there are Hemsworth.
And he's just he's a block of wood. And he's basically there to walk around with his shirt off and have a towel to coincide with they tried to make it some steamy thriller.
So it's Taylor Lautner.
Yeah, I'd hate to see it's based on a book. I'd hate to see what kind of shelf that book is on.
Watch the book actually be great, and this is just the worst parts of it.
Yeah.
You never know.
Maybe I don't want to. Yeah.
No, we probably don't.
But yeah, so as we were going in, you asked me what it was about. And I hadn't even seen a full trailer. I'd seen a couple of TV spots. So I just took a guess from out of nowhere of what the movie was about.
Yeah, remember
and
this.
what I told you the movie was about ended up being the twist at the end.
Yeah.
So, oops.
And we watched this movie with, what, about 5 people?
I think so.
Something like that. And it was the last showing. It was like, I believe it was the last movie we watched that night. Wasn't that one of those days we watched like 3 or 4 movies?
We had seen Kick-Ass right before it.
Okay. So yeah, even, especially going out to Kick-Ass, we were hyped and everything. We got into Paranoia and it was kind of like sleepy time. So.
It's just one of those movies where from the very start, you know exactly what it is. It's one of those movies that does the thing where he's running from some black suits or whatever, and he's narrating about how deep in he is, and then we're eventually going to circle back around to that. And we care about it as much when it comes back around as we did when the movie started, which is not a lot.
It's got Amber Heard in it, which also doesn't help its case whatsoever.
She's got a fan base for some reason, and she is good looking, but
yeah.
As far as movies are concerned, that's all she's got to offer.
I point you in the direction of The Informers if you want to see anything.
So that's Paranoia.
Paranoia. Well, we're going to go into that a little bit later, actually. My number 10, I've been fighting with myself on this, and I'll say right now, keyword is had The Hangover on this list. And then I thought about it more, and I was like, okay, I've got legitimate heat with this movie that's not exactly legitimate. So I'm going to throw that out there. Mine is a personal bias completely. And anybody that knows me, you know exactly why. Anybody that doesn't know me, I'm not going to tell you why. So let's just put it this way. I got personal issue with the movie. Mainly just the first movie. I didn't even watch the second one. The second one I was supposed to watch, but time after time it fell through, and I never ended up getting to see it. But I ended up getting forced to watch this theatrically, and I made AJ sit through Francis Ha in order to pay him back for it. So we both lost those days in opposite ways. I was going to put The Hangover on this list, but then I thought about it. I was like, you know what? John Goodman's that good. He can save a movie that I absolutely dislike. So Goodman is hilarious in the movie. And Ed Helms, I mean, after Jeffrey Lives at Home, and, I like Cedar Rapids, which a lot of people completely forgot about. And, I really don't watch The Office very much. I mean, it was kind of funny because I was actually on United, and United was flying me to Orlando, obviously, and lo and behold, I got to watch 2 episodes of The Office. And that's like 3 episodes I've seen in my life. So, I've seen 3 episodes of The Office, and how many seasons did it have?
I don't even know.
A lot. So, it's still going, isn't it? No, it's gone. It's done. Sorry, I don't follow television anymore.
The last scene of the finale was amazing.
Okay.
When Steve Carell came back.
I will check that out.
Because he only had one line.
Okay.
the moment was perfect.
Okay, right on. So yeah, I can't put The Hangover on this list, so I'm just going to just throw it out there and say, you know what, number 10, you gotta talk about one thing, you gotta talk about Peoples. Yep. Almost the same exact way I did it last time, too. This Meet the Parents straight ripoff with David Alan Grier and Craig Robinson.
Gary Washington.
Yeah, I know.
Melvin Van Peebles. Sweetback himself, and Claudine herself.
Yeah, just the gimmick on her head, the headdress. Craig Robinson puts it on to try to elicit a reaction from the crowd. Doesn't work half the time. This movie is terrible, and you've seen this all before. It's like, what would happen if Guess Who made it with Meet the Parents? That's exactly the way to describe it, to be totally honest. I mean, Tyler Perry wouldn't put his hands on this movie.
He did.
I know, that's the bad thing.
It was originally called Tyler Perry Presents We the Peoples.
We the Peoples!
That was the original title. I thought you were going to cardiac arrest for a second.
No, Jack Swagger. So, We the Peoples. Anyway, no, the movie sucked. And the bad thing about it is even the Mylar, even the font was straight rip-off of Meet the Parents, too. Like, it's like, I don't know, fonts obviously are copywritten, so somebody had to be sued on this case, because they're the same exact font.
Are you going to talk about the fact that this movie might as well be a musical?
Yeah. Yeah, Craig Robinson has this deal where he creates music for children, and yeah.
Well, it's not just that, it's just...
And then the disco stuff.
The movie is really short.
Not short enough.
At least half of it had to be people singing or dancing.
Yeah, and
for
not
no
in a
goddamn
good way.
reason.
Yeah.
Like Tyler James Williams from Everybody Hates Chris was the little brother, and
yeah.
he would make music videos in his bedroom. There's a whole scene devoted to that.
And of course, you get walked in on, and there's all sorts of chicanery that goes down. It's like, oh god, such a bad movie.
No, you talk about the poster, and you just talk about it in general. There are actual plot points that rip off Meet the Parents.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's at least 3 or 4.
So yeah, if you have a chance to see this movie, and you have a chance of getting a root canal, I would say your best bet is to
commit suicide.
Exactly. give that dentist a call and let him give you the happy gas. So, my dishonorable mention is already gone, so I would say that my number 10 for worst of the year is Peoples. AJ, number 9.
My number 9 is Getaway.
Oh, God. I love Selena Gomez, as everyone knows, but this movie, number 1, it had almost nothing behind it whatsoever. It came out pretty much, not with a bang, but with a whimper. Like, almost no one knew it was even out.
Well, it started with a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes, and that got
God.
attention. And you look, this is the director that did Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, that says it right there.
And he did An American Haunting.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a horror movie with Dawn Sutherland. It came out in 2006.
That's probably why I don't know what it is. I didn't watch everything back then.
I actually saw it when it was in theaters.
Of course you did.
Back then I thought it was alright, but I haven't seen it since, so I don't know if I'd still say that or not.
Did you watch Dungeons and Dragons theatrically?
No.
Good job.
I've seen Dungeons and Dragons a couple of times though.
What?
It's one of those train wreck movies for me. I can watch it.
Well, it's like me, you're gonna roll your eyes on this, but I love Cannonball Run. I really do, and for me, that's like a guilty pleasure.
Okay, let's talk about Getaway.
Okay.
So it had a somewhat intriguing trailer.
Yeah.
It certainly looked better than it was. Ethan Hawke is this former race car driver who his wife is taken, and then he gets his car is this car that he's been through. Fuck it. The car that he's in has been fixed up. There's a whole thing how he gets the car and where it came from.
It's a lot to it too.
It's fixed up. It's got microphones and it's got cameras. It's like what Dennis Hopper did to the bus and Speed.
Yes.
So you can watch him, and you got John Voight. This is one of 3 movies on my 10 here that take place at Christmas. You have John Voight at this Christmas party in the middle of everybody. And he's doing this thing, and basically his evil plan is to make Ethan Hawke drive around and destroy shit. It's like a really, really bad Twisted Metal video game.
Yeah, it sounds like a video game concept for sure.
And then the shit hits the fan. Not for the plot, but for the movie itself. when Selena Gomez hops in his car, and she's a carjacker. Oh, surprise, it's actually her car. And John Voight's like, oh, no, she stays in the car with you, and then, oh, you gotta kill her. And then he's like, I'm not killing her, I'm a good guy. But for some reason, as many times as Ethan Hawke explains himself, Selena Gomez always thinks he's the bad guy. She thinks it's Ethan Hawke doing everything. Then after they have their heart-to-heart and everything is perfectly explained for every character involved, Selena Gomez still puts the blame on him from time to time just because that's what her character's made to do. And she's this tech-savvy, I can hack into anything kid, conveniently enough.
She's Penny from Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, oh god, we went into that whole thing.
Yeah, we did last time we did this review. It's got a chase, tinge to it as well.
There's a whole... This movie is non-stop action. And unfortunately for this movie, that's a bad thing because
really
this guy, Courtney Sullivan, I think is his name, doesn't apparently know how to handle action scenes. Because these car chases go forever and ever, and they're so redundant and boring. And apparently every car that's not Ethan Hawke's is made out of, plastic and is hollow because he just gently taps a car and it flies through the goddamn air. It has one magnificent shot in it where there's this really... Selena Gomez is in a car ahead of them, and Ethan Hawke is chasing after them, and it's just one really long shot from the point of view of the front of his car. But other than that, this movie is a boring, sometimes hilarious piece of shit. Yeah. It's released by Dark Castle for some reason.
That's so weird, too.
Which, maybe I thought maybe it was going to have, a darker edge to it. There was something the trailers weren't showing us. Well, yeah, there was something the trailers weren't showing us. The idiocy of the whole fucking thing.
That's exactly true.
Okay.
Number 9 is a movie that you've already seen if you watched the trailer. And
this.
Yes. So, yeah, number 9 is WWE Films' The Call. Oh my god. First off, like I said, the first statement I just made sums the movie up.
Since this was on your other list,
yeah,
what could we say about this review of The Call?
It's already done. Sorry. It's already done. Here we go. And then, of course, you stare awkwardly as the scene ends and you see her out of the corner of your eye, and then boom, WWE film. Now... Unlike Dead Man Down, which actually did make my best of the half year, this movie is just wrong. That's the best way to put it. This movie is wrong. First off, like I said, the statement that you've seen the entire movie. The twist is in the trailer. The last shot is in the trailer. Most of the high spots of the movie, or tried to be, are in the trailer.
The last shot actually wasn't in the trailer, but it was in the TV spots.
Really?
Yeah.
Either way, you're still spoiling.
Of them shutting him in the room.
Okay, Halle Berry has had a lot of good roles in her life. Monsters Ball comes to mind, obviously.
Yeah, she got a little gold person.
Yes, she did. She's good in the X-Men series. It's fine with that. And then you got...
We Lost in the Fire.
Yeah, there you go. There's things that come to mind, I like Gothica, but I know everybody doesn't. You get stuff like Catwoman, which we don't even speak of on this channel, because I think Will's going to come through the door in about 5 seconds.
You just did speak of it.
Will's going to come through the door in 5 seconds. Oh no. So, I feign caring. Now, basically what I'll say right now is this movie is just terrible. And the best part about this was the crowd we watched it with.
By crowd, you mean the two people in front of us?
Yep. Who thought that it was the scariest, most intense movie they've ever seen in their entire life. No disrespect, there's people that comedians talk about all the time where it's like, he's got a gun, oh god, he's got a gun. Those type of people that just yell out everything that's obvious about everything, yeah, that's what we encountered when we watched this movie. And we were just sitting there on our hands like, how long till we get to leave? So it's like, hey, I can change my background now on my phone.
It's worth noting that the first half of this movie actually rips off the Nicolas Cage movie Stolen.
Yeah, it's the same thing you said in the review. I remember because I watched it the other day.
When you're ripping off an almost straight-to-video Nicolas Cage movie, it actually might have gone straight-to-video. I don't remember. I saw the movie.
You told me that it was going to go theatrical, but it went straight to video, and you still reviewed it anyway. So yeah, the number 9, just, I mean, Breslin tries.
Yeah, she got some acclaim.
She's not bad in her role. She plays the damsel in distress really well. And Halle Berry is just going through the motions in this movie.
Morris Chestnut's in there.
Morris Chestnut and David Otunga are the cops. So that's not the last time you hear about Morris Chestnut in this video. Mark my words. But I will say right now that it's just bad. And everybody gives so much crap to WWE films for grabbing so many bad movies. But then again, there's stuff like Dead Man Down that really actually excel. And then I'm going to keep putting it over. I don't care. And it's funny because we're talking about the Getaway previously, not talking about the Alec Baldwin, Kim Basinger movie that I actually do enjoy.
Or the Steve McQueen movie.
Or the Steve McQueen movie, exactly. Nothing to do. There's the in the title, there's just Getaway. It's like the is in another title that we're going to be talking about in this movie. That there is a very famous movie that's actually great that has the same title but without the. You know what I'm talking about. So yes, my number 9, without any question, is The Call. So, AJ, number 8.
Well, my number 8 is something where I'll just go through again really quickly. It's Walking with Dinosaurs.
You put it on your list. That's awesome. This proves how bad December was for movies, folks.
And it's not often at all, at least that I remember, that you see an animated movie on a worst list.
No, not really.
But this is an animated movie of a whole different kind.
This isn't an animated movie, really.
Here's what happened. Okay.
The opening scene should have told you were in for something different.
Yeah, the movie's bookended with live action.
Yeah.
You know the portions where you have the uncle who's Carl Urban. What the fuck?
He needed the paycheck.
And he's got his niece and nephew, I guess. I don't know if one of them's his kid and one's just whatever. But
doesn't matter.
You have the one girl that's interested and you have the kid that's all, this is boring, but you know, don't worry because he'll think this is amazing at the end of the movie. But
of course, that's how it always works.
But anyway, and so we're suddenly back with the dinosaurs, and we're being narrated to. I don't remember which one of them was narrating first. We have Justin Long and John Leguizamo both doing their own version of narration, and you have Justin Long's the dinosaur and Leguizamo's the bird. And they're I guess this is notorious now. Like it's starting to like. People are really talking about it. The voice work in this movie. Not the voice work, per se, by the actors, but the way it is...
The way it looks?
Let's put it this way. The dinosaurs' mouths don't move.
I know where you're going with this.
And they interact... But here's the thing, though, is... they make... In case you didn't see the review from like 2 weeks ago, their mouths move... But like they're roaring or they're squawking, depending on what animal they are. But you can hear the roaring and the squawking, and the actor's voice is put over it. And it's like they seriously took this movie that was not theirs, and they just put voices with it to make a story out of it. And it was really just some dinosaur documentary that was animated.
It's Farce of the Penguins.
Basically.
It really is. It's Farce of the Penguins.
And... It's like a bad kung fu movie.
It's just like I said in the review last time.
And it's really just who
made this? Who thought this was a good idea to bring this out and market it to children?
And there are times where, remember how I said like when they roar or when they squawk is when the voices are put over them?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes that doesn't always last.
Nope.
Like Justin Long will have this dialogue that starts when the dinosaur goes like, "Rah," but then it'll just kind of stop and just sit there and look at the bird, and Justin Long's voice will still be going.
It's like monologue in his head,
and it looks like it's like that miraculous moment where the movie went out of sync.
That was great.
And you couldn't tell. You could only tell when they something else made a sound effect that wasn't them talking. And yeah, when I talked about them narrating, when they start to interact, and sometimes it's right after a narration. Sometimes I couldn't tell when they were talking to each other or when one of them was still narrating. And apparently it's supposed to be an educational thing because the movie will just stop every 5 minutes when there's a new dinosaur.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a dinosaur that's not even a major character. It's just one that happens to be walking by. and they feel the need to stop it, and you have those children's voices come on from Blue's Clues, and they tell you like all the facts about this dinosaur and what its name is. Even though children watching the movie are never going to remember this.
Nope.
Especially when it's just like, oh, hey, there's, and it stops, and then it tells what they are.
And they're all, like, obviously with dinosaur names, they're all extra long, so they're not going to remember them either. Just such a...
What was wrong with this movie?
it didn't even have a good start to it either. It's just kind of like you knew right where you were going when you started the movie. You knew you were like, I don't know about this. And then you got more into the movie and I was like, wow, this is going to be really, really bad. And by the time you were over, it's like, this was really terrible. This is definitely worst of the year material.
And there's really no cohesive story. It just kind of... You literally just... That's the title. You just go along with them, and then that's it.
Skylar Stone is the brother. He becomes the leader of the flock, or
that's the closest
herd or something. So yeah, it's just not good. Speaking of not good, my number 8 is another movie that I don't really like this series at all, and I didn't like the third one either. Our buddy Mark Vincent's back again. And for those of you, I speak layman's terms, I'm talking about Vin Diesel. And that means the only thing I could be referring to right now is Riddick. Sci-fi can go either way for me. It's like you got something like Star Trek, which was on one of my best of the year, like for the half year. It was on there because it was really good. And then you got stuff like Cloud Atlas, then you got stuff like District 9. I mean, these are really good sci-fi, but Monsters. I threw the S on there. They're really good movies. Really good District 9 movies. There you go. No, I really enjoyed the sci-fi genre when it works. But it doesn't really always work. And I don't like the Riddick movies. I don't buy the character of Riddick. I never have. These are very pointless films that are basically made for people that like the other movies. If you don't like the other movies, chances are you're not going to like this one either.
Vin Diesel's very proud of them. He went through a lot of shit to get this one made.
I'll give him the fact that he believes in the movies enough, no matter how great they are in his mind. He believes in them enough to try to fight for them. It's kind of like how Michael Bay wouldn't do Transformers until he got Pain and Gain. So, I mean, I'll give him that. I'll commend him for it. But when it comes down to it, the movie's just not good. I mean, it's another pointless action sci-fi movie that really doesn't go anywhere. And it's something you could miss if you didn't like Pitch Black or The Chronicles of Riddick. I mean, I have another name, obviously, for The Chronicles of Riddick, and you pretty much have probably figured out what it is. But when it comes down to it, we did a review of the entire trilogy. And we're both under the same impression that we don't like any of them, really, overall. And this one was pretty much just a rehash of the other two. So, it's a skip for me, for sure, and easily one of the worst movies for me this year. So, that would easily be my number 8. AJ, you have any elaboration on that?
That movie pretty much is what it is. There was a character that I really, really hated, which is that girl. That basically brings down... People complain about sexism in movies.
Yeah.
This character brings that... Whatever that argument has accomplished, down about 5 notches.
Yeah, completely.
That's pretty much it. I've forgotten most of it, actually.
Yeah,
I remember the decapitation, the very important decapitation that was spoiled in the trailer.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because that big scene that they show in the trailer, I thought would be like the opening, and it's like almost the ending.
Yeah. Another case of a trailer ruining something very important. You just don't do that. It's what you need to... People that make movie trailers, you need to understand the fact that you don't need to blow the spot in the trailer. You set it up for everybody to believe what they're going to believe, and then you get the payoff when you watch the movie, not when you watch the trailer. You just gave it away. That's like giving a joke away in a comedy. It just doesn't work. But you continue to do it, so nothing we can do about that. AJ, number 7?
My number 7 is the second of the 3 Christmas time movies. I don't know how well you know this or not, but it's got a lot of recognizable faces in it. By a lot, I mean 2 really recognizable faces.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is called All Is Bright. And this movie is disgusting, and I don't mean in a gross way. I mean disgusting in a... This movie is repulsive like I said, it's not disgusting and repulsive, but not in a gross out way, if you know what I mean.
I haven't seen this movie.
This movie's attitude
Okay.
is very, very off-putting.
Okay.
I think what they tried to do is, okay, a Christmas is wonderful.
Mm.
Christmas is this time where everybody's happy and everybody wants to, in a perfect world. And most people with, their head on straight that aren't complete psychopaths. Use this time to, do something nice for people and just...
Spend time with family, reflect on the great moments of the year.
And just enjoy life.
Yeah, exactly.
You have snow, which looks awesome as long as you're not in it. You have people go out of their way to, decorate the shit out of their houses with Christmas lights. The whole
Griswold style.
Yeah, just the whole Christmas season is a beautiful thing, if you do it the right way.
Yeah.
I think what this movie's purpose was to do was take that concept and take everything that is not beautiful and appealing and loving and try to contradict the feeling of Christmas within this movie with its characters.
Well, since you haven't reviewed this movie, I'm curious what this is about.
Paul Giamatti is this unlikable fuck that just got out of prison, I think, or jail. And he is such... Listen to this.
Okay.
He has an ex-wife and a daughter. This guy is so fucking repulsive. His wife, instead of saying your dad's in jail, told his daughter that he was dead. Okay. And then, if memory serves me correctly, she got engaged to his brother. And his brother is Paul Rudd. So, to basically bond, you're going with Paul Rudd, who's... Paul Rudd's not the most likable of characters either, but he's a saint compared to his brother. And basically, they're going to go out together to bond by selling Christmas trees.
Okay. Yeah, you told me about this movie, alright.
And this movie is just fucking ugly. Just everything about this movie doesn't work.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a comedy, I think. I don't know. I think maybe we're supposed to think it's funny that he's such an unlikable fuck, but I can't tell. I was too wrapped up in the fact of, oh my god, this guy's an unlikable fuck, and I don't want to spend the next hour 40 with him.
So it has enough it does not have a redeeming quality of like a bad Santa.
No. No. And then here's the thing, it actually tries to have moments towards the end where maybe there are moments where they appreciate each other and they do appreciate the things in life, but for the love of God, I don't buy it at all.
Oh, wow.
And this just... No, you don't desecrate Christmas with a movie like this. That's just something you don't do. If you want to do a contrast of the happiness of Christmas and a character that hates Christmas, there's always all the variations of A Christmas Carol and, Bad Santa.
Watch The Grinch.
Yeah.
Seriously, just watch The Grinch.
Willie from Bad Santa, The Grinch, and Ebenezer Scrooge would look at Paul Giamatti in this movie and say, I hope you fucking die, you asshole.
That's awesome. Wow.
So, yeah, Sally Hawkins is in it, too. She's kind of a somewhat potential love interest, but not really.
Oh,
I don't even remember where that story went. She would just appear occasionally. And yeah, I tried to get this movie out of my head as much as I could, so that's pretty much all I can remember to even tell you. But this is just... fuck this movie.
Well, we've already discussed this next one. This is going to be my number 7. There's only one thing I can say. And not really one thing I can personally say, like verbally say, but there's only one thing I really can do to describe this movie.
Oh, it's that one.
Yes. It's Dark Skies.
Look out for the birds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh my god.
Not the Conjuring birds. They're actually kind of freaky.
Yeah, they are. That movie's freaking insane. Carrie Russell banging her head on the wall and against glass and probably off camera in her dressing room realizing she made such a horrible movie.
At least she did Austin Land.
Yeah, exactly, which we may end up talking about sooner rather than later. But not on this review. No, God, no. But it's just, God. And that's another thing, the contrast of her doing a movie like Austin Land and doing Dark Skies the same year. So, I mean, it's just, we talked about it for quite a bit in our last review. We did the worst of the half year, and just nothing more that can be said, but it's laughably bad, and it's funny for the wrong reasons. Like, this trailer just made me laugh hysterically because it's just so over the top. And it's just bad. It's just bad. It's just like if it was a child and put it in the corner. It's just bad. It needs to be slapped on the wrist and, like, taken its dessert away. Because it's just bad. So
it tries to be kind of like a Twilight Zone episode.
Kind of, yeah, I can see that.
And a mix of signs.
Yeah.
Spoiler if you didn't know they were aliens.
Yeah.
Your token character actor who has to come in and explain everything. You got J.K. Simmons in his safari hat.
Yeah, I like his safari hat. That was redeeming.
It went with his safari jacket from the Lady Killers.
Yes.
Good job, Pug. I got blueberry syrup on my safari jacket.
I didn't talk about the Lady Killers for too long because I think it's got something needs to be discussed eventually. Talk about that off camera. So yeah, that's my number 7. So AJ, you want to get in number 6 right before the bottom 5?
By complete coincidence, when I was putting this together, I didn't realize I had put 2 Christmas movies together. But
oh, okay.
My number 6 is another one of those ones that I was actually going to put on the list with Sharknado and the Starving Games, where it's so bad it's not even worth mentioning in a list. But I went ahead and threw it in here. It's a Medea Christmas.
We'll discuss that in a minute for myself too.
I don't know what to say here that I didn't already say, but this movie is, you remember when we reviewed The Wolf of Wall Street and I said, in a good way, there's something to offend everybody in it?
Yes.
This movie is kind of that for all the wrong reasons.
Flip it.
They degrade rednecks, which, whatever. But they also, they try to make a message on bullying.
Mm-hmm.
That goes horribly wrong.
Yes.
They try to do a message on racism. Black people being racist towards white people this time.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is this segment involving a child that's smart, but his dad is holding him back because he wants him to work on the farm when the kid could be going off, getting extremely educated.
He's worried about the plant getting shut down.
Well, that's...
because that's the truth, that he really was.
And by the way, that hasn't even gone into the fact yet that this is a fucking Medea movie. Which means you know that it's going to be dramatic, overly dramatic when it doesn't have to be. It's going to be extremely unfunny when it's trying so hard to be.
Yes.
And most importantly, just packed to the brim with every possible thing Tyler Perry wants in there. Because he doesn't believe in editing his scripts. All the important things he has to say must be crammed into this one script.
Yeah, I don't believe in editing either, but Tyler Perry just takes it to a whole new level.
He could make like 5 different movies with this one script.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he does. He has so many goddamn ideas, most of them just retreading the others, that he makes 3 movies a year at least.
He'll have 35 by the time he's 50.
And all these movies try to pack so much into them.
Yeah.
So if he were to break up the scripts he already has, he could go from making 3 movies a year to making like 11 movies a year.
And they'd National Lampoon series.
And they'd be the same length. And there's just so many things. I went into the whole tirade about the truck in the review.
Yeah.
There's the whole fact that to put an end to bullying, to be rip-roaring hilarious, Medea takes the bully, who is a girl, because that's edgy, because she's bullying a boy, you see.
Yeah.
And we're close to Christmas, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Well, to teach this bully a lesson, Medea takes Christmas lights and ties this girl to a cross as if she's being crucified.
Yeah, she crucifies her with Christmas lights in front of her classmates.
And then takes a wreath and uses it as the thorn crown. Merry goddamn fucking Christmas from Tyler Perry, apparently. So, that's what that is. I'm not even going to mention the Larry the Cable Guy's in this movie.
Yeah, I hate Dan Whitney.
That pretty much brings it, like, that sentence alone tells people everything they need to know.
But, you know, the thing about it is there's people that may even watch this video that may find it like this, and they like these movies. Obviously, if there wasn't a market for these movies, then they wouldn't be made.
If you pay to see a Tyler Perry movie, I don't respect you.
No. We watch these movies for free. If I didn't work at the theater, I swear to you, we'd never watch a Tyler Perry movie. That's a straight up shoot right there.
This Medea character is so run into the ground.
I want...
Because it's the same jokes and the same lines, movie after movie after movie, and the character goes through no changes whatsoever. It's just the same punchlines over and over and over again. But the problem with this fan base is, when we were in there, I didn't mention this in the review, but I meant to.
Okay.
When we were in the theater, there was this guy with a date, and there were a few people scattered around.
This is not a date movie, folks.
And what happened was, it's that mentality of when people go to a comedy, they expect to laugh, so they're going to laugh no matter what. So, there was this we were talking about something recently, we were talking about charity laughs. I think it was Grudge Match.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, I don't understand a fucking word Medea says. It's just him doing his thing. And his fan base, as long as he's in Medea's clothes doing the thing, they're gonna eat it up. But this guy in the theater with us, that was over here,
Far, far away from us.
the Medea thing was going on for a while, and the guy was silent. And then, after a while, Medea said something, and then somebody else over here laughed. And this guy over here heard them laugh, and started to laugh. And then after that, proceeded to laugh at everything Medea said.
The best is when you catch them do it.
Yeah.
That's even better.
So, we saw him watching this, not laughing.
Sitting on his hands like we were.
But it was when he heard somebody else laugh, he realized, oh yeah, this is supposed to be funny, so I should be laughing. So he just did.
I'm telling you right now, just hearing your diatribe right now about these type of movies and just these try-hard comedies that are just not funny, I'll tell you right now...
People, let me just throw this message out there. This is a very important message. And please, please hear me out. Okay? I understand. I totally, totally understand, because I used to be this way.
Okay.
A really long time ago. If I went to a movie that was a comedy, I would laugh at the things that I knew were supposed to be funny because that's what I was there for.
Okay.
I didn't want to have to accept the fact that, oh shit, this isn't funny. So I just did. Don't give movies the benefit of the doubt. If you're not laughing, there's a reason you're not laughing.
Exactly.
You don't need to force yourself to do it. If you're not laughing, either just stick it out and don't lie to yourself and make yourself laugh just because you know that's what you should be doing, what they want you to do. Feel about the movie how you feel about it. If you go to a shit happens, especially nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to break it to you, but more often than not, if you go to a comedy nowadays, it's probably not going to be that funny.
Yeah, there are a lot of exceptions, but they're also few and far between.
If you're not laughing, there's a reason.
Yeah, exactly. Don't laugh because the guy next to you did.
Yeah. If you don't think it's funny, don't lie to yourself. If you don't think it's funny, then it's not funny.
No, it's not.
Trust yourself. Don't trust the people around you that may also just be doing the charity laugh thing.
Well, it's also like not even just comedies, other movies too. If like you don't like said action movie that came out starring big Hollywood blockbuster star, tell people you don't like it.
It's not gonna. Yeah, you're gonna have those people that say, "Oh, you hate popular things." Sometimes popular things do just suck.
Yes.
And most people are afraid to say that because they're afraid of that mentality of I'm going to get lynched because everybody else thinks it's amazing.
Yeah, and I've got one of them actually on close to the top of my list, to be honest.
And for all you know, the people that are starting an altercation with you because you didn't like something may only like it just because they're afraid how people will react if they hear they didn't like it.
Well, John doesn't like it, so I don't need to like it either. And I really don't like this movie, but John doesn't like it, so I have to hate it too.
Yeah. If you're sitting there watching a comedy go by and you're not laughing, it's not you.
It's the movie. that's the title of this video. It's not you, ... It's the movie.
And the same, you could, if you want to be positive, the same goes in reverse.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a movie that nobody's laughing at and there's something funny going on, once again, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just react to the movie the way you initially react to it.
Or you're watching a movie like, remember watching Jason X one day and just like on my break, and I was laughing hysterically and I was the only one. So yeah.
I believe there was a line in Jason X that says, this sucks on so many levels. Isn't that hilarious?
It's like he's staring at you when he says it too. But yeah, just you saying that made me realize how much I absolutely hate a certain movie, that it's also a wannabe comedy. So much so that I've changed my list on the fly. Yeah. I'll tell you right now, I had Paranoia as my number 6, but you know what? I decided I hate something a little bit more. My number 6 is Grown Ups 2. You know? Okay. First off, I like Adam Sandler. I'm gonna start with that, and then it's like a Band-Aid. We're just gonna take it up. Just gonna peel it off.
Well, it helps that he's doing a Jason Reitman movie, so
yes. And the Adam Sandler that did great roles in Funny People and Punch Drunk Love. Like, I like his dramatic stuff. I do.
And back to Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison.
I was going to comedy second.
And Big Daddy and all that.
And The Wedding Singer.
Yeah.
Still an influential comedy to this day. Sandler had something back then. The problem is, now he's resting on his laurels. And now he just wants to hang out with his friends and get paid for it. That's the reason the first Grown Ups came out. I'll say right now another thing. I like David Spade. I do. I like the Spade and Farley movies, and I liked him on SNL. And, like I say, every time I bring this up, I get heat for it, but I don't care. I like Dickie Roberts. So there. Maybe it's the television fan in me. So what? I like David Spade. I like Chris Rock. I like Chris Rock a lot. I'm one of the only people that I know of that like CB4. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, exactly. And
yeah, I didn't care for.
Yeah, he's great in Dogma. I mean, I believe he's on one
Nurse
of
Betty.
Yeah, Nurse Betty, one of your favorite movies. I Think I Love My Wife.
Yeah.
Another thing we didn't think we'd like that's there. And then there's Kevin James. Okay, first off, I should probably like Kevin James because Kevin James was a wrestler. He didn't go pro, but he was a wrestler in college. And Kevin James got a wrestling background. Okay, fine. Whatever. That's good. And Kevin James, of course, plays me in The Zookeeper, which is wonderful. And it got me to really see that character in a different light, which I hated. Kevin James also has something on his resume as well. I never watched King of Queens, so I can't really say anything about it. And I don't like Ray Romano for this reason, too. Ray Romano isn't trying to be someone. He's just not funny. The only reason Kevin James has a career to this day is because Chris Farley died. He is taking the same roles Farley would have taken in his prime. Easily. And this would have been Farley if this movie would have been made about 20 years ago. And you can't deny that. He is doing the same pratfalls Farley used to do. He's doing the same jokes Farley used to do. And he's trying to be this generation's version of Chris Farley. Now, I wonder what Kevin thinks of that. Because he can't be as funny as his brother. So, that's not his fault, that's just how it works. I mean, I like them together and everything, but when it comes down to it, he's not as funny as Chris was, obviously. This movie is basically just so the four of them can hang out in the outdoors and just get paid for it. There might as well not even be a script here, because there's no real storyline going on. I mean, sure, you have the family situation going on, everybody has to meet up together, but...
If I had to guess, I'd say the script was a list of scenes that we're going to have.
Here's what we want. Oh, by the way, Taylor Lautner's going to be in here as a jock.
That's
it.
Like the tire and the store.
The pool.
Yeah.
I hate that scene.
Yeah.
That stuff's not funny, folks. It's not. Adam Sandler laughing is not funny. Because that means... When he did it back... in the day, obviously, that before Happy Madison became a company and ruined the world of comedy. When it actually had good movies, when Happy Madison was just Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison, and was not a company yet, it was basically him and Jack Garaputo writing everything. Well, the thing about it is that's when Adam Sandler was really funny. The problem is he started to rest on his laurels, and then he started making really bad stuff like Just Go With It.
Jack and Jill.
And Jack and Jill, which...
He produced Bucky Larson.
Yeah.
I think he was a writer on it, too.
Yeah. Bucky Larson... could have been better than it was. But...
No, it couldn't have. That was destined to be just...
I like Swardson, though, but he's played out now. I mean...
The best joke in that movie came from when Don Johnson, who played Miles Deep...
Yeah, Miles Deep was a great character.
Got an email from his mom. He's like, it's from my mom, and we see really quickly that his mom's name is Mama Deep.
Mama Deep. So yeah, I mean, I would talk about how boring Paranoia is, but I decided I just wanted to rip Grown Ups 2 a new one. So that's what I'm going to go with. My number 6 is Grown Ups 2.
We're going to keep going because it's my number 5.
Nice. Great minds think alike.
I think it's abundantly clear that Sandler has it out for his critics.
Oh, yeah.
He's called them out more than once. And it's kind of... Generally, okay, when he's like... I think he was at the People's Choice Awards. He was accepting something. And in his award speech, he talked about... It was a nice rib at his critics.
Yeah.
Just saying, the critics don't like me, but whatever. However, I think that leaves room for... He can be, in real life, he can be, oh, the critics don't like me, whatever, I don't care.
He's a likable guy. I've seen him on Conan, seen him on Letterman.
However, I do think there is some extreme aggression that he feels towards his critics.
Yeah, definitely.
That he lets seep through into his movies. Because Adam Sandler, the person, to maintain, credibility, is not going to say... My critics are pieces of shit and I fucking hate them.
No, he won't.
He's going to say that with his movies.
Yes.
Okay. He's going to take every single thing that everybody knows is wrong with his movies, and he's going to amp it up with each new one. And this movie, I think, is... I know I'm jinxing it here. This movie feels like as low as he can possibly go. I'm sure he's capable of going worse, and I'm sure we'll see that very soon.
He's got a movie coming out.
I haven't seen the trailer for Blended, but I can't tell if it's... His first 2 movies with Drew Barrymore are great, with Wedding Singer 51st Dates.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know what kind of movie that is, if it's like that or if it's like this. I don't know.
It looks more like this, honestly.
It sounds like it might be like Just Go With It.
It kind of is. With Terry Crews for some reason.
Where he does the thing where he gets... where do they go?
Africa.
Okay. So
he hasn't seen the trailer legitimately, so I can actually vouch for this.
Just Go With It. They went to...
I don't remember.
I want to say Hawaii or something.
It was definitely an island of some sort. Okay, I believe it was Hawaii.
He made Just Go With It so he could get a paid vacation to go there.
Yep.
And Blended's basically his paid vacation to Africa then.
Yep.
Okay.
He already went to Animal Kingdom, so he wanted to go to the real Africa.
And this movie's jokes are just bottom of the barrel, and they don't have any context. They're just a stupid series of events.
Fat jokes, short jokes, gay jokes.
And they try to have these plots like the thing at the store. That store has got to be one of the worst scenes of the entire year.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what happened there. I just remember a scene at the store with Steve Buscemi was there, and like all the characters just like showed up in this one place, and stupid shit happened. And I don't.
That happened a lot in this movie.
There was some secret being kept, I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember specifically what.
No.
There are 2 scenes I have it out for this. There's 2 scenes of projectile vomiting.
Yeah, of course.
Which is the absolute bottom of the barrel. Apatow relies heavily on this, and of course, Apatow and Sandler,
Yeah, that was back when Apatow was good, though.
There are 2 jokes that rely on projectile vomiting. There's this long scene where they put David Spade in a tire and they roll him down a street.
Yeah.
And then there's this moment where, for no reason, I think it's Swardson, somebody starts to make out with a dog.
It's Swardson. It has to be.
And somebody witnesses this and starts puking. Alright. We go to this... It ends on this party that's like a huge portion of the movie. It's the big ending. There's this plot where I think it's Chris Rock's... It's Tim Meadows or Chris Rock's daughter, I can't remember which, wants to sing or something. Mm-hmm. That's its own plot that goes nowhere. It's just these... And then the whole frat thing with Taylor Lautner, who's not even credited. They try to make that a plot, and they bring back the fucking deer from the first scene.
The stupid old jokes, too. That's another thing that's a retread from the original movie as well. Hopefully there won't be a Grown Ups 3.
That's the problem, though, is people love this.
I know they do.
They... And the fact that this opened up with Pacific Rim, hurting Pacific Rim's box office, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I tried so hard to get people to go to Pacific Rim instead.
I don't know. I'm getting tired remembering this movie.
You want to move on?
Yeah.
So we're going to number 5 for me. It's a movie that I've dissected a lot, and I'm going to say my worst. Number 5 for 2013 is Broken City. I'll say right now that the only thing I can remember of any worth from this movie, still to this day, and this is weird, me of all people saying it, is Russell Crowe as the corrupt mayor. That's the only thing I can remember of worth from this movie.
Barry Pepper has a couple of good scenes, but his whole plot doesn't really have much of a significance.
Yeah. This movie tried to be something that it wasn't. And that happens a lot. Like, there was a movie, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. We were really hyped for this gangster-style movie. It was a couple years ago. And I'm trying to remember what it is off the top of my head. It was a movie that we wanted to really like, but it's just one of the worst movies we've ever seen. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Please help me with this, because I feel like an idiot right now.
That's really vague.
I'm aware. I think there was a scene in a vehicle, like there was some sort of a shakedown.
Brooklyn's Finest.
That's it. Yes, Brooklyn's Finest. Yeah. That's what Broken City is this year. It's Brooklyn's Finest. Yeah.
There's this weird plot where Wahlberg's wife or whatever is in this movie. And it looks like some cheap porn movie, but it's supposedly gonna make her like this big actress, and she has like this really big sex scene in it, and they make that its own plot.
I remember them watching it in the theater and like how unnerved they were watching it. It's like, come on, man.
Where was that plot that was happening before this?
It's like Wiseau in the room. He just wanted to make a sex tape and get paid for it.
Jeez.
Yeah. So we're now past the bottom 5 now. So AJ, you want to continue with the number 4?
Number 4. There were 2 movies on my when we did this halfway through. I actually had them in the wrong place. I had to switch them this time.
Okay.
Because the more I thought about it, the more I was like, wait a minute, how is this above this or how is this below this? My next one's actually Identity Thief, which was my number 2 before, but then I realized there was a movie under it that was actually worse. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, we'll get to that movie a little bit later.
Identity Thief is basically the studio saying, hey, that Melissa McCarthy was real popular when they did that Bridesmaids movie. Let's have her do that again, only let's have it be done, like, strictly to please the... Okay, I know you're supposed to please audiences, but not this way.
No, not at all.
You take this... I didn't think much of her in Bridesmaids, but the point is...
I hate that movie.
But she got an Oscar nomination, so clearly people saw something for it. But here's the thing. Okay, you take the performance in Bridesmaids, and you whittle it down to a character that exists to make funny faces to entertain a baby.
Yeah.
That's what they've done to her. And this, I've actually almost completely forgotten the movie now. But I remember it being unforgivable when I saw it.
Oh, absolutely.
And the fact that it can't even stay in my mind has to say something. I mean, I know it came out back in February, but still.
God, it was that long?
Yeah, it was February 8th. It came out with Side Effects. That was off the top of my head.
You also looked through this list a few minutes ago, too. About an hour ago.
And this is just... I don't know what to say. It takes every possible... There's no original comedic situation here. There's a very long scene with Eric Stone Street where they're in a hotel room with him and he's stripping.
Wasn't funny in the trailer, not funny in the movie.
And they do the fucking... I can't believe this is still a thing. The annoying person that sings in the car joke. How many times does one do that? When they did it in The Heartbreak Kid in 2007, that was 6 years ago. And the Farrelly brothers were doing it. People
Yeah.
with talent in comedy.
Yeah, of course.
Generally.
Mm.
No, stop that joke now.
Mm. I don't know.
They're just so wrong. I don't even know what... This... Fuck this movie. I don't know. Morris Chestnut plays the laziest cop in the world. Who literally... The plot of this movie happens because Morris Chestnut does not want to do his job.
In the call, he at least tries to be a cop.
And it's the whole... Fuck this.
Yeah.
The main problem with this movie, as much as I hear she's like one of the most wonderful people to be around in real life. But...
Make movies like that, then, because this character, Melissa McCarthy, is not working.
It's because of...
Go ahead.
Okay. I can understand if somebody's a fan of her, they'll probably like this. Because it panders to them.
Yeah, they're really...
That's its whole, this movie's whole existence is to pander to those people that like her in Bridesmaids.
Yep.
That's the only reason this movie exists.
True.
So, I'm sorry, Jason Bateman, but you're the one that said, okay, I'll do this. It's your fault. I'm done with Identity Thief.
Well,
we
gotta go back to it a little bit, but not quite yet.
It's also another movie that relies on projectile vomiting to be funny.
Yeah. Well, AJ already brought it up, and I'm gonna bring it up too. My number 4 is A Medea Christmas. I've never liked a Tyler Perry movie. I think I've said before on a video that I like wannabe Tyler Perry movies much better because they actually have a better flow to them and more coherence to the plot, to the storyline. Not Easily Broken always comes to mind immediately.
Morris Chestnut's really a lot in here.
Yeah, poor Morris Chestnut. Yeah, he's not done either. I will say right now that I have no problem with Morris Chestnut whatsoever. It's just, he just picks bad roles. That's how it works.
Best Man Holiday is good.
Best Man Holiday
He's
is
good
good.
in it.
Yes, I agree. Best Man Holiday is really good. I will say right now that I hate the Medea character. And it just... I don't like the Big Mama movies either. Obviously Philomena does. But... I thought you'd like that. I don't like the Big Mama movies either. But they're better than this. I mean, the fact of dressing in drag, I mean, it can work with Robin Williams and Mrs. Doubtfire.
Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman and Tootsie, of course. But this doesn't work. It just does not work at all. Tyler Perry, I'm sure there's a good actor in there somewhere. In nearly everyone, there's some sort of goodness somewhere. But we've not seen it. We may never see it. And unless he stops making movies like this, it'll go away, never to be heard from again. I will say right now that the logical conclusion of these Medea movies is to kill the character off, right? Is that what we're saying? That's how we end this. I mean, Ernest P. Worrell never died. But that's pretty much what this is. These are like the Ernest movies. But the Ernest movies are somewhat funny. The Medea movies are basically taking whatever contrivances you want to do, movie after movie.
Here's the thing. Believe it or not, apparently Tyler Perry doesn't understand this. But do you know what the Ernest movies did that the Medea movies don't do? The focus of the Ernest movies was actually Ernest.
Yeah, exactly.
And Medea is just this centerpiece character for all the other shit that happens around her that she can commentate on.
She's the supporting character in a movie named after her. See, I like the Ernest movies, and you have Ernest Go to Jail, Ernest Scared Stupid, Ernest Saves Christmas. So, what happened with Medea? Medea went to jail, Medea went to Christmas. Medea's going to do some sort of a horror movie, Scared Stupid, next. And the logical conclusion is you kill off the character. Well, the problem is you can't do that until the well runs dry, and until people realize these movies are not funny and not anything original, then they're going to keep being made. Like I said, if you want to kill a concept, stop watching it. As long as there's people out there to watch it, they're still going to be made. no matter how great they are, no matter how god-awful they are, they're still going to get made. And no matter if we dislike movies or if we love movies, if someone is the opposite, then they're either not going to get made or they're going to get made a whole lot more. And that's the problem. So if you don't like Tyler Perry movies as much as we don't, then stop watching them and tell people to do the same. Because
they probably aren't.
They're not making as much as they used to. I'll say that right now. I mean, like, there are Tyler Perry movies that open at #1 in the box office. I don't believe that happens any longer. I think people are starting to realize
Medea Goes to Jail opened at #1 in 2009, and it wasn't even a totally wide release.
No, it wasn't. I don't believe we even had it at that time.
Yeah, we got it a week later.
Yeah, it opened at #1, and that's why we got it the week later. And it's just, it opens to a very niche audience. And it's funny because the Medea movies, unlike the other Tyler Perry movies, the Tyler Perry movies that are without Medea, they open a little bit better. When it comes down to it, the Medea movies actually bring in the crowds you wouldn't expect to come in to watch the movie.
Do you remember the Mylar from Medea Goes to Jail?
No, I don't actually.
This sounds like it might be a spoof, but I'm being serious.
Nope,
You can probably Google it.
I don't have it, because obviously I don't have stuff like that.
Medea Goes to Jail is obviously, supposedly, this wacky movie where Medea goes to jail.
And learns absolutely nothing.
Of course it's got Raven woman beating in it, too, because that's Tyler Perry, but...
Yeah.
The Mylar for this movie, if you want to talk about the tone of Tyler Perry movies, was... It appeared to be... It said Medea Goes to Jail in, like, purple font.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked really serious. And it was this, like... I don't know if it was, like, a dove or a bird of some sort. And it had, like, an eye in it or something. It looked really serious. It looked like something like The Color Purple. Like a Color Purple type of movie.
But luckily we know that there is almost no way, regardless how people like these movies, Tyler Perry will ever run for an Academy Award.
Unless somehow, like, he is doing a Fincher movie next year. Well, he's already shot it. It comes out next year.
Yeah. But
I don't think.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about Medea's big fat waste of time anymore. Once again, I hate Dan Whitney. I do, and I disrespect him by calling him Dan Whitney. Now it's funny because the late Nick DiPaolo said many moons ago during the roast that basically he tried being many things.
You mean Geraldo?
I thought DiPaolo said it.
Well, when you said the late, I think you mean
Greg Giraldo. Yeah, sorry. Nicky DiPaolo is still alive. His career may not be, but he is.
He has one fan somewhere you just gave a heart attack.
I'm sorry. No. Back off. Sorry. I've had a rough couple days, so I'm kind of twisted a little bit right now, so sorry about that. Greg Giraldo once said that Larry the Cable Guy, which I don't ever mention him by that name because I think it's ridiculous, he had a lot of gimmicks he tried before he became, like, Dan the Comedian, which failed. So, yeah, and that was funny because it was the first time that the world had heard the fact that he's just Dan Whitney, a very college-educated gentleman.
Engvall said that, too.
Yeah, Bill Engvall said it, too. He's a very college-educated gentleman from, I believe it was Nebraska, I think that's what it is. And he has made his billions of dollars by turning himself into a backwoods redneck by the name of Larry the Cable Guy. And I'll give him props for doing that. But I won't say that he's funny because he is not. And I'll tell you right, it's funny because watching like Movie Surfers on Disney Channel back in the day when Cars first came out, hearing Dan Whitney's shoot voice is hilarious because people that you're kind of expecting him to talk a little like this, and Dan Whitney has very soft-spoken voice, and you barely can even tell he has any sort of accent whatsoever. You can completely tell his complete gimmick is a word. So yeah, I just went all wrestling vernacular on you guys, but you guys should know that by now. But the thing is, I hate these movies, and I hate these movies. Stop making Tyler Perry movies, please. I implore you. AJ, get into number 3, please, before I lose viewership.
I'm not really sure how number 3 made the list, and it's not on the list with like the Starving Games and Sharknado.
Okay.
But it was here last time, so it's just kind of stuck around.
Okay.
Obviously, the movie that I'm pretty sure Freeberg and Seltzer Ghost wrote.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Scary Movie 5.
Yep.
which completely murders everything the Wayans brothers stood for when they brought the spoof back with Scary Movie, and what Zucker did when he did 3 and 4, which weren't what the Wayans brothers did, but they were still alright.
Yeah.
3's actually hilarious.
Yeah.
4, it started to wind down, and 5, they just went bottom of the barrel completely.
The redeemable things about the movies, honestly, are the movie posters themselves. I think the posters are pretty funny.
I don't even remember what they look
They're all
like.
spoof posters, but they work.
Well, obviously, the one thing that comes to mind to talk about when you talk about this movie is how they're so reliant on pop culture, and they want their jokes to be so in the now.
Literally in the now.
That this was supposed to be a Black Swan spoof.
Mm-hmm.
That they completely chopped up when Mama came out in January. 3 months before this was released.
How'd that even happen, honestly? I mean,
what I don't understand happened was how the Evil Dead remake. The Evil Dead remake came out the week before this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like you said, they just watched the trailer.
The Evil Dead No. The Evil Dead remake had been out for a week when this came out.
Okay.
And the whole movie of the Evil Dead remake, from the licking the box cutter, is in Scary Movie 5. Where did they get that information?
The trailer?
And the electric knife in the arm.
Yeah.
That is somehow in Scary Movie 5. When Evil Dead came out a week before.
Somebody's on a different movie set.
They probably read the script or something. Or saw, or broke into Evil Dead set. Yeah.
Hey, Campbell's not here, so we're fine.
But they were that desperate. And they don't even have a target anymore.
No.
A lot of this movie was Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. You have Mama, you have Evil Dead, you have Black Swan, you have Planet of the Apes, all in one movie, and there's nothing to it.
And sometimes you name drop movies that have nothing to do with anything, like Zero Dark 30.
Yeah.
Just because. No context. They try to make it a context, but it's a context that doesn't make sense if you've actually seen fucking Zero Dark 30, which these guys apparently haven't. Malcolm D. Lee's the guy that did The Best Man and The Best Man Holiday, and he's like Spike Lee's cousin.
Okay.
I think he may have just gotten, put on this. I don't think this is something he wanted to do.
You want to make $100,000?
Because he also did Undercover Brother.
Yeah, I like Undercover
Which was
Brother
a
a
successful
lot.
spoof movie.
Yeah, it's really funny too.
Successful as far as...
Soundtrack made a lot of money.
As far as the movie being what it wanted to be.
Yeah, definitely. It worked really well for the blaxploitation genre.
This had to have been forced on him.
I'm sure it was.
There's no other explanation. And I've...
Kind of like James Wan with Saw. That's the reason why he put so much into it and killed the franchise.
So... Yeah.
Yeah.
This just... The spoof movie killed itself all over again.
Will the spoof movie ever truly return, is the question.
I don't know.
Is there anybody that could bring it back? Obviously, Zucker is the originator, and he's the one that still can't make movies now.
I don't know.
I just hope it doesn't die a death of Freeburg and Seltzer for the rest of time.
Yeah, because I got a new one coming out in January already.
What? That better be straight to video. That review will be coming up.
Magnolia's releasing it.
That review will be coming up on Pop in a couple of weeks.
Alright, so yeah,
Well, there's a lot of people that like a lot of the things I'm about to discuss, so I'm sorry right off the top, but I have my own opinion, and this is it. My number 3 of the worst of 2013 is World War Z. Mm-hmm. Oh my god. Now, if you like The Walking Dead, which obviously I've never seen an episode before, I went to the house numerous times, obviously, during Horror Nights this year, but that was the only connection I've ever had to Walking Dead. And supposedly, if you like The Walking Dead, you'll like the zombies in World War Z. But this movie's all over the place. Brad Pitt tries in the little bit that he can, but it's bad CG after bad CG scenes of zombies and just things going on and things going wrong, and it's supposed to be a great end of the world movie, and you know what? It just failed miserably on all accounts.
I particularly love that little bit where Obviously, the zombies are going to be attracted to sound.
Yes.
So Brad Pitt has to go from where he is into this room to get whatever it was that they needed.
I remember what you're talking about, yeah.
And to get into that room, you need a code to punch in.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, they didn't give him this code when he left.
Nope.
So what they have to do is they have to call him on the loud-ass phone.
Knowing this is probably going to attract the zombies.
And Pitt still tries to be quiet. Like, he doesn't even... He gives, like, a silent... And then he puts the phone back really quietly. As if, you know, not enough noise has been... fuck. And the whole the whole thing just felt weird to me from the get-go. Like, as soon as it started, I don't know, this movie was off.
I just don't like this movie, and I know a lot of people that did like this movie.
And it's literally just him going from place to place, and then shit happens, and then he goes to another place, and then shit happens. Until he finally gets to Peter Capaldi's place.
The bad thing is there is a really good possibility, in tech nomination only, this will very soon be an Oscar nominee.
Well, some people say they're frightened by this movie.
What's scary about it? Really? The zombies in 28 Days Later are scary. The zombies in World War Z are...
You called them zombies.
Oh, God.
They're the infected.
I know they're the infected. Sorry, we did a video about it, too. Go check it out, too.
It's too late. The internet's already ready to assassinate you.
Oh, they're going to be ready very soon once I mention my top 2. AJ, give us your number 3. Or we're going number 2 now.
It's 2.
Yeah, sorry. Just talking about Tyler Perry and then World War Z is kind of like so angry now, so... Give me your number 2.
My number 2 is a horror director fallen from grace like I've never seen before.
Oh, boy.
The director, the incredible director of Phantasm, and if you like that, Bubba Hotep, I think it's overrated, but whatever. Brought us John Dies at the End.
It's not number 1? Oh, wow. Things have changed.
Well, okay. John Dies at the End, basically, if you didn't watch the other video, is basically what happened if a bunch of gorehounds from the internet made a movie with their friends just to get a kick out of, you know, playing with gore and making a story that's completely incomprehensible that nobody, including the people that made it, can understand. It's just weird shit happening for the sake of weird shit happening. And this movie clearly loves itself and thinks it's so fucking cool, which is the most reprehensible thing a movie can do for me.
No, for sure.
I mean, sure, a movie needs to be confident in itself, but this piece of shit just loves itself so much. The people that made it. Somebody actually tried to argue with me once, how can a movie love itself? It's an inanimate object. You know what the fuck I mean. For God's sake. The people that made it are clearly... Like I said, you really need a confidence in your project to be able to make it effectively.
Yeah, of course.
But I think these guys may be those guys that are under the impression that they could do no wrong when they started to make a movie. This was going to be a masterpiece, and they felt like it through the whole production of it. Not one instance did they say, oh, this doesn't make sense, or, oh, this is not going to work. They were under the impression that everything they were doing was genius. And none of it is.
Yeah, from what you've told me about this movie, I will never watch this film.
Yeah, Paul Giamatti comes back. Paul Giamatti's on this list twice. How depressing
That's
is that?
wrong.
I think it's because he's done so many movies. Like, he's probably got plenty to balance it out.
Yeah.
Because he's been in like 20 movies just this year.
Well, he's on my best list, so that's not a big deal. I mean, that balances out for me.
And there's just, you got Clancy Brown in there. He's alright, but he's got 2 scenes.
You bring him up a lot this year. You really have.
Because he's the guard in Shawshank. That's
Yep.
where a lot of people probably know him from, besides being Mr. Krabs and the villain in Highlander. He's that guy that everybody knows, but they just don't, like, when you say that, they know.
I like how that was so, like, seamless, too. Mr. Krabs and the villain Highlander. Like it's one title. Mr. Krabs is the villain in Highlander? Who knew? Literally, who knew?
Yeah, he's just one of those guys that everybody knows, they just don't know that they know him. So you just have to say one of those three things: the guard in Shawshank, Mr. Krabs, the villain in Highlander, and somebody will know. But no, pretty much everything is wrong with this movie. And Paul Giamatti, you have this amazing actor who's literally there just to be that bookend, who is listening to the story being told. That's it. And the movie's disgusting. The gore is like not. This is supposed to be one of those movies that's enjoyable because of the way it is, because of how over the top it is.
Yeah.
This movie was just entirely unpleasant. So, just nothing but unpleasantness to get from this movie. That thought it was such a cool, hip thing. Doug Jones is in it too. He has like one scene. I don't remember what he did. He was just there. He looked important. He sounded important, but I don't even remember what he did. Okay. I saw this movie in January. I saw this movie almost a year ago, so my memory's not all there, obviously. But if one thing remained in my memory about John dies at the end, it's my hatred for it.
You're gonna say that I hate somebody personally when you hear my 2 and 1, because the same person is in both movies. Now, we've already talked about one of these movies, and that's going to be my number 2. My number 2 for the worst of 2013 is Identity Thief. Yes, the movie is called Identity Thief. If I hear Identity Theft one more time...
I still hear that sometimes.
I know. Yeah, when you work box office in movie theater, that happens a lot too. And then you correct them, that's just how it works. But you're doing your job, because you're just correcting their title. So, like I said... we've talked about before, I don't like Melissa McCarthy's character in any movie she's ever done. I don't see any role she's ever been in that I've thought that character was likable. I think she's loudmouth, I think she's obnoxious, I think she's cursing for the sake of cursing, and that's it, to try to elicit a reaction from her mainly female fan base.
Not near as bad as she was in The Heat, though.
It's funny you mentioned that. So, spoiler alert, but the thing is... I will say right now that there is just a point in a movie where it just goes off the rails. For me with this movie, it's anytime Jason Bateman's on screen. And even then...
Don't forget about Robert Patrick.
That's what I was trying to remember. I was thinking, Robert Patrick has this bounty hunter role. And he is one of the funniest parts of this entire movie. As a matter of fact... he's one of the only redeemable qualities about this movie that's not in the main cast.
His character is redeemable because his character's trying to kill her.
Exactly.
You finally have somebody to root for
in
this movie.
You do. Exactly. It's awesome. But yeah, it's bad. And everybody took to this movie. It's like, oh my god, it's so funny, it's so funny. And like my number 1, it's just not. And I get a lot of flack for these top 3, given the fact that I really, really don't like movies that everyone seems to. And it's not because I'm trying to be different, or it's not because I'm trying to be like, oh, I'm just going to not like everything, because I'm just going to be a Scrooge about things. No. It's because I have an opinion. And my opinion is, I don't like these movies, and that's the reason they're on my worst list. They may be on a lot of other people's best list. I've actually seen people that think this is one of the best movies of the year and one of the funniest. It's neither funny or good, but that's my opinion. And AJ obviously shares the opinion as well, given the fact that it's on his worst list as well. Now, I'm sure there's going to be people out there that like this movie. I know there are, because I heard people talk about it, and talk about how much they love Medea, and how much they loved a lot of the things on my list, and most of the things on AJ's list. But again, it's all about your general opinion. And if John down the street thinks that Identity Thief is hilarious, it doesn't mean you have to. So yes, a PSA, don't laugh at something because you think you have to. So yeah, that would be my number 2. So yeah, I didn't really talk about the movie because I didn't really have to. I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit. So AJ, we've come a long way since the beginning of this year. Our first movie of this year was Gangster Squad, and our last movie of the year was Grudge Match. Thankfully, that's not exactly true, given the fact that we still have 2013 movies to watch. But our last movie in the year of 2013...
My last movie was Lone Survivor.
Yeah. Theatrically, our last movie in 2013 is Grudge Match. There you go. His last movie in 2013 was Lone Survivor. Mine was Blue is the Warmest Color. Quite an interesting tandem of movies. Which is really good, by the way. I recommend it. So,
I guess it's worth noting that when I put Lone Survivor on the list, it was number 294
nice.
for me this year.
Which are 6 away from 300. And you know what that really does?
It really pissed me off because I was 3 shy of $1 million a week.
Yes! Go see The Wolf of Wall Street immediately.
So after 294 movies from this year...
This movie came out when?
While you were gone. September.
Okay.
You know what it is?
I've got an idea.
Okay.
And it almost made mine too, but I had to clip it at the last minute.
Stick a fork in anything that real love stands for.
Yep. I know where this is headed.
When you get ready to watch my number 1 movie, which is Baggage Claim.
Oh, God.
Okay.
This was the time you were glad I was gone, so you didn't have to watch this so early.
Well, here's the thing. Okay. Baggage Claim's message is one of the most horrible things I've ever heard in my life.
It's a retread of What's Your Number, for starters.
Oh my god. What's Your Number looks like Annie Hall.
Yeah, totally.
When you watch Baggage Claim. Okay. I'm not even sure where to begin.
The review's fun, so go back and watch that.
Well, listen to this, okay? Here's what the plot is.
Yep.
Poor impressionable women that watch this. Because it's one of those movies where the plot is you have it was Paula Patton, I think.
Yep.
Okay. You have poor single girl Paula Patton who has a best friend that's Derek Luke that she's not gonna fall in love with and marry by the end in the fucking airport. So she decides that her sister is gonna get married. Her sister is like, her wedding's in like a month. So Paula Patton says, alright, I need to be married in 30 days. This girl is single right now.
She doesn't want to find her date to the wedding. She wants to be married.
She needs to be married in 30 days. Or at least find somebody she's going to marry. She needs to at least be engaged or married in 30 days. Okay?
That's ludicrous to start out with.
Surprisingly, Ludacris is not in this. Adrian Crockett was in his place.
Yeah.
Um,
Ludacris is in Oscar-winning movies.
Yes. So, what she does is she gets in her old directory. That's more of an expression.
Old directory?
That's an expression more than her
We're getting phosphate at the drugstore next?
More than her actually doing it.
I got you. Her black book, basically.
Yes. So, and she's gonna go back to all of her exes.
Because that's a great idea.
And choose one of them.
Because there's a reason they failed in the past. But it doesn't matter because she's desperate and trying to find someone in 30 days.
Yes, because this idea...
I haven't heard that clock in a while.
...is a golden idea.
Not to mention screwing with so many TSA guidelines by going into personal passenger information and getting the locations of said people and said flights, using her job to do so, would she be fired for if it happened in real life?
Let me tell you the end of this movie. Let me tell you the whole... Oh my god. I'm getting... Hold on. Watch out.
Around the world and back snap.
I'm like, if you start bleeding in this, I'm totally sorry. It just happened.
Yeah, it happens.
Let me tell you the ending of this movie. Okay.
Get hyped.
She goes to her sister's wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Shock surprise she's not engaged or married yet. let's backtrack a second.
Okay.
There's this segment involving Derek Luke, which, by the way, there's a dream sequence in this movie that I'm not even going to bother to talk about.
Please don't.
It's in the review.
I know it is. Go back and watch the review.
He put, like, back when they were, like, kids or something in school, he put, like, a ring in a Cracker Jack box or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it was basically his way of, like, you know, like when you're kids and you're in love, you propose, but it's just a cute thing you do.
I had grass thrown at me during my wedding ceremony in preschool.
You're not going to actually get married or anything.
No.
Well...
But you do get fake divorce before you go to the opposite school on the other side of town.
Now you're in that Full House episode.
We did this. This is a real thing that happened to me back when I was a kid.
Okay. Sorry.
No.
We're about to break 2 hours, but I just can't do this.
I know. I hope a video can go 2 hours. We're about to find out.
She goes to the sisters. It's like a rehearsal dinner.
Yep.
Okay, and she gives this big speech. Now, her sister was getting ready to marry this guy. They're getting married like fucking tomorrow.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Paula Patton, who is so fucking crazy, she thought it would be a good idea to find one of her exes to marry just to get married. There's no love here at all.
You do that to get a green card. You don't do that for love.
Okay, she just needs to get married right now. There's really no reason. She just has to be married right now.
She could be married to the mailman. She wouldn't care.
That's how insane this character is. So
Exactly.
what happens is she takes the podium at the rehearsal dinner and gives this big speech about how women don't need men. The woman who was going to get married just to get married is going to give this big speech about why women don't need men. So this prompts her sister to not marry that guy.
Yep.
That she was going to marry like tomorrow. But that's not the thing. I'm not saying women do need men. I'm saying in the context of this, because let me keep going. The movie doesn't end here.
Nope. It continues, folks.
Oh my god. You know all those romantic comedy cliches you hear about. Even fans of romantic comedies think this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
You always hear about the race to the airport. You see that there are movies upon movies now that spoof romantic comedies.
Not another teen movie with Molly Ringwald. This is the scene that comes to mind.
Yes. And you even have those little moments like in Friends with Benefits where,
Yeah.
where they're watching that romantic comedy that doesn't really exist. They just made it for the movie and it was like the cheesiest shit of all time.
Yes, indeed.
They're doing that now. And Friends with Benefits is 2 years old now.
Good God.
Over 2 years old now. It's like 2.5 years old now.
God, I can't remember. I didn't even know it was that recent.
And here's the thing. This movie ends with a race to the airport to stop the guy from getting on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
And it's being serious about it.
Yeah.
And you do this thing where she has her friend, obviously she's a flight attendant, so she has a friends that work at the airport, so she conveniently has them stall him in this wacky antic where we don't know if she's going to make it in time or he's going to race. They're racing there.
Yeah. Afion Crockett's TSA, so he basically distracts him and makes him do stuff.
Yeah, I'm so serious.
Yeah, this is a completely
This is what
serious.
Not only do they do the race to the airport thing, the cliches do not stop.
No, they don't.
They actually do the thing where she watches the plane leave and she sits by the window and she's really sad because there goes her entire life.
Yep. And of course,
he is the guy that she never saw before. And so much so that she ignored him while she went through all of her exes all over again.
but he was always
get
there
married.
the whole time.
And after having realized this 5 minutes ago, she's sadly watching her life fly away.
Literally.
And then, lo and behold,
He didn't get on the plane, folks.
she turns around, and there he is, because there's no possible way he could have seen her.
No.
So what he did was, he decided right then and there, he was not going to get on the plane.
Yeah.
And he was going to say, well, there's no chance in hell that he was being all bitter and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So in his mind, there was no chance in hell whatsoever. She was actually going to go through the trouble of doing the race to the airport. So he was basically going to sit in the terminal with the ring, just in case.
Yeah.
and not get on the plane. How much do you think he paid for that ticket?
I don't remember where it was to, but I know at least $300. Airfare is expensive, I would know. I think it was Virgin Atlantic too, which is also extremely expensive. Are you done?
What was it I said in the review? Something along the lines of, there is doing the cliche, and there is fucking in both holes the cliche.
Yes.
The cliche was left like a ragdoll on the side of the road after this movie.
DVDA.
Yes. And not there either.
No.
Not stopping there.
No.
Okay, good. Now I don't have to say anything else for the rest of this video.
Okay, and since we are very close to the longest video we've ever done, I'm going to end not with a bang, but with a whimper. Another movie that I know a lot of you people liked, and I can know this because people have told me how much you like this movie. And again, we're sticking on the same actress. The worst movie for me in 2013 is The Heat. Okay, now, it's funny because with Sandra Bullock doing The Blind Side and All About Steve in the same year, and there was one more, I believe, I can't remember off the top of my head what it is. Proposal. Now, for me, the movie that I liked out of that list for some reason was, I don't know why, I have a sore spot for All About Steve, I don't know why. But when it comes to those movies, I didn't like The Proposal, but All About Steve was forgivable slightly. I will say right now that everyone in the world is in love with Sandra Bullock. AJ gladly raises his hand. And with her on the cusp of being a runner-up at the Oscars this year, sorry people, she's not winning. When it comes down to it,
I would say Judi Dench for the runner-up, but that would get a sidetrack.
That's what everybody's saying right now. They want Sandra Bullock to be a runner-up right now, basically. Because she's not winning, it's not going to happen. The thing about it is she does this buddy cop movie with Melissa McCarthy, and everyone in the world goes nuts for it. This movie is unfunny. The trailer itself, to me, was unfunny. And there's this song that's on the trailer that seems to be everywhere now.
MIA?
Yes.
I think it's called Bad Girls.
Yeah, I believe so. And it's almost as bad it's actually worse than, but it's very close to that horrid song in the Ride Along trailer that I hate so much. The sound of the police, that thing you hear every 5 seconds.
Oh, the song that's in Attack the Block.
Then it kicks into something that sounds a lot like 99 Problems by Jay-Z. It's in Attack the Block, nice. I hate this movie, and I hate the fact that people love this movie. And I'm not hating it because people love this movie. I'm hating it because I don't like this movie at all. There's nothing redeemable about it at all, and I could talk for hours about how much I dislike it, but it's basically just me saying to the point that it's not funny. I didn't laugh once, and the trailer made me hate this movie even more because it was on everything, and I had to see the same unfunny trailer moments every single time. I don't like this idea as a buddy cop movie. Could it have worked with different people? Yeah, probably, but it's terrible. Absolutely horrid. And for me, it's the worst movie of the year. AJ, do you want to talk about The Heat at all?
I wouldn't put The Heat anywhere close to this. There was a lot of stuff that Bullock did was fine. And there was, Michael McDonald was there.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. Michael McDonald I did enjoy.
I love the scene where, Bullock starts flipping everybody off. I love the scene with, her at the dinner table, where they ask her if she's a narc. This is not even close. That's not even close to the worst of the year.
For me, it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. So that's just how it is.
I mean, I didn't like it, but
no,
it's not. I didn't even consider it here.
No, I did because I really didn't like it that much. Identity Thief would have been number one, but I think I dislike The Heat a little bit more. So you may agree with us. You may disagree with us. In most cases, you might disagree with us, but those were our opinions for 2013, and we'll continue to give our opinions through 2014 and beyond. So, in the immortal words of Jay Sherman on the critic. It stinks. And you should stay as far away from it as humanly possible. So, that being said, thank you guys and girls out there for enjoying Pop throughout 2013. The best is yet to come, mark my words. Lots of new segments, lots of new stuff. And award season is just starting, so we will be seeing a whole lot more of each other as we progress. In the next couple of days, we're going to be doing some videos on the Screen Actors Guild Awards and Critics' Choice Awards and the BAFTAs. We're going to be talking about our predictions for those. So, in the meantime, thank you guys and girls up there for watching. And for the final time in 2013, since you'll be watching this 2014, that's all I got to say about that.